On January 8, 2019,
Jiang, 36, was convicted by the court.
Death sentence after murdering 3 people.
However, the story behind the action. His actions caused this.
There is a lot of controversy.
At the time he was sentenced,
the majority of Chinese people reacted against the court's decision and stand
on Coco's side, protecting older brother.
Hello, it's Tu again.
And today, we will go find to understand Jiang Coco's story. Or to be more precise, the story about his family, about logic. Why did he take it away? The lives of 3 people, their relationship? What is their purpose and why? This massacre was again witnessed by many people. China is concerned and causes many problems. The controversy was that intense.
To understand the full story, well, we'll have to go back a little bit of the past.
In a village called Wang
Ping around 1994, family of
Jiang Coco has 4 people including him. That, an older sister, my father and mother. 2 people, and Jiang's neighbor.
That's Kwang's house. There are 5 people, including 1.
The couple and their 3 sons. These 2 families only had 1.
They have a very good relationship. They are great,
helping each other in work and life and being close neighbors of each other. And then, a government project.
When they appear, they will create a police force, jobs for the people here, and if any family gets the contract,
in working on this project, it was a turning point in their lives.
When the cheat gets paid much more
than farming and roasting. This is a very rare opportunity. And therefore, the level of competition to obtain the terms applicable to these contracts
very
large. The people here will really, they had to trample over each other to be able to,
I got this job.
And of course, both families. Both Jiang and Kwang's families want to have it. This employment contract with high competition among the population involved. When it came to money, the 2 families were close. They used to be good neighbors. It gradually became a competitive relationship, unhealthy. It started with small debates. These gradually escalated into major arguments. This event shattered an official's record. The relationship between the 2 families has now changed. They became enemies.
But after thinking a lot with
many arguments, Jiang's family, they proposed an agreement such as, like this.
One way for both families to have.
It's possible to both benefit from this.
That's the rotation agreement.
Working under government contracts.
The Jiang family will allow the Kwang family to obtain it.
The contract first, and after 2 years then.
It will be the Jiang family's turn to get it.
The contract, and both families will.
They take turns like that.
In this way, both families.
They will all get the contract, and neither will they.
Everyone is at a disadvantage. At this point, both houses.
They are all in a state of exhaustion.
I'm financially in need of money, and I desperately need it. So Kwang's family agreed to the deal. This was the Jiang family's advantage, and began with 2 years of earning money. A bigger problem arises when, after 2 years, after earning a lot of money from that contract, and it's time for Jiang's family to have it. Once the contract was signed, Kwang's family became, they refused to return to life, living in poverty as before, and behind them,
the Jiang family, they have already signed the contract
with the government for the next 2 years.
When the Jiang family found out,
I was very annoyed and extremely angry. To make matters worse, Kwang's family showed no sign of returning.
Not at all wrong, but instead, it is a similar defiant attitude when knowing that the Jiang family would not be able to do it.
What do I gain from this? What followed were a series of days. Both sides were arguing and cursing at each other. Helpless in the situation, the father, Jiang, still had to go and meet the market
school, a person who is said to be very impartial.
Civilization, and after presenting the entire story, from beginning to end, Jiang pleaded with the market day to talk to Kwang's family and tell them, respect the agreement between the 2 families. But to Mr. Jiang's surprise, the market was on our side today. Kwang's house, and that's also the reason why. Why is Kwang's family so confident? So, that's because the eldest son of Kwang's family is now the chairman of Government Administration Office. At this point, the Zhang family even hated him. Kwang's house is even more so because it's not
They
just
are despicable people who break their promises. They are also evil, manipulative people.
other people. The situation between the two families became tense until that day, August 27, 1996, when my mother, Coco, Mrs. Jiang, while holding her two children, his returning home from outside. Then Kwang's second child.
They are exercising in the yard.
An argument broke out. Jiang spat in his direction. The other guy and this young man slapped each other. Another punch to Mrs. Jiang's face. The two started fighting and arguing. They were shouting and cursing loudly.
Actually, if it's a fight,
That's
then it's
not
also
right
because this young man is currently
He's only about 20 years old and age.
very energetic, and Mrs. Jiang is also.
He's old and frail now. Then both families ran away.
Go out and try to stop the argument.
Together, or at least those are the ones. What they tried to do at.
Because at the beginning, during the tense situation,
Two people means two families. There was a lot of back and forth between them. The workload became stressful when Jiang was attacked more by two people. Second son and youngest son. Kwang's family's actions made her have to
pretend to take the wooden stick that her husband
He was waving his hand in front of them to chase them away. They moved away and accidentally bumped into each other. At the beginning of Kwang's youngest child, everything became very chaotic and from the beginning the second child carried. He pulled out a stick and struck the sky. On Mrs. Jiang's head created a. The sound of shattering was quite clear, she said. Jiang fell to the ground, blood spreading from him. The nose and mouth were lifeless and everything. The thing suddenly stopped, there was nothing left.
What other dynamic elements does the whole family have?
Jiang tried to help her up. But there was still no response.
From Mrs. Jiang to all cities.
All the members of Kwang's family died.
They didn't even lift a finger to. They help because they know that the matter.
What just happened at Jiang La's house?
Shout to get Kwang's family to call a car.
They took Mrs. Jiang to the emergency room, but the family Kwang had no intention of helping at all, yet some still say that it is not. Their responsibility is due to the FEs.
Ambulances are extremely expensive, beyond the means of the Jiang family, but that's not the case in the town.
Mr. Jiang finally had no choice but to go to the hospital. He had to leave his wife lying there.
Run to the mayor and ask for help.
After explaining the situation, he went back with Mr. Jiang. After the mayor came to see her, when Jiang was lying down, he asked the house.
Kwang must take responsibility for this.
Kwang's family still denies it and claims that it was Miss Jiang who started it all.
But even if in the end it doesn't, if they want to, they still have to call a car
to take Mrs. Jiang to the hospital.
At PM that night, Mrs. Jiang was.
The announcement stated that he had passed away and recounted.
That's not a hospital at all.
A little closer to Kwangpin village.
But it's still a small hospital. They don't even have room.
To keep Mrs. Jiang close, the Jiang family had to bring the corpse of the
Back
old
home.
woman. Mrs. Jiang has always been a spirit. The soul of the whole family is like glue and paint, to bring the whole family together, and when Mr. Jiang is no longer here, and the two children had no idea what to do.
Why did they bring Mrs. Jiang's body?
I went home and lay down in the yard while
Mr. Jiang was crying bitterly. Try to hold Kwang's family accountable, and if she had to pay the price, she would have to now.
She was only 13 years old and was hugging him tightly. My mother in my arms while the people in the village started gathering together too. After some observation and discussion, the final result was
Jiang's family reported it to the police and they will have to perform an autopsy.
She passed the exam to become Mrs. Jiang, but because
the
of the
fees
cost,
are too expensive, so the examination process
test will
is
be
complicated
conducted
right at home.
Of Jiang's family, the people of the whole. The villagers gathered to watch. That autopsy including children, including Jiang. She was only 13 years old at the time.
Witnessing his mother having her head shaved, opening the skull right before your eyes, and
a scene that would last until the end of his life. It's also unforgettable, and the result. It was revealed that Miss Jiang had died because
Mr. Jiang was hit on the head by an object.
Second son and son. T was arrested shortly afterwards. And after questioning the police, he announced that the youngest son is the person responsible for the death of Miss Jiang, but from her side, Jiang's family, despite the scenery, it was very chaotic, but they were certain that the second son was the real one. The person who assaulted Miss Jiang, the police said that the Jiang family shouldn't do everything. It's made even more complicated because of the son, the youngest son of the family whom they knew, has already confessed.
Then the Jiang family immediately guessed it.
It was all part of the family's plan. I know the second son, who is 20.
He's old enough to face punishment. Punish the child like an adult.
The youngest son is still a minor age and therefore will be reduced. He punished the number of children extremely lightly and not convicted of murder. Instead, it's just a crime of intent, causing injury and only having to serve a prison sentence.
7 years later, the Jiang dynasty immediately rebelled.
Regarding this verdict,
They want a family member
must bear the cost of emotional distress, funeral expenses, child support expenses.
If you want to live near someone you know, you have to pay a certain amount of money, approximately 1 billion Vietnamese
He's a
dong.
boy, but somehow the court declared that the acquaintance, they only have to pay a small amount of compensation.
Exactly $1,500, approximately 35 million Vietnamese
It wasn't even
dongs.
enough to cover the wedding expenses.
A man who once lost his wife,
his and 2 children are gone. Mothers and all that they were compensated 35 million Vietnamese dongs. The copper on that day seemed as
just an ordinary family day.
The Jiang family has lost a member, important, a wife and a mother.
But for Jiang Coco, it seems like you lost much more than that when
Warm memories of him from the time.
At just 13 years old, they will wear leopard print and change.
He changed his whole life and became
a person who lives a very reclusive life, quiet and dislikes social interaction. Others as soon as they finish.
Coco dropped out of middle school and left. When looking for a job, you have to make a choice.
I chose it because at this time my father, he's the only one who's working and provides for the whole family, so Coco
were forced to mature faster than others. The child was normal, but Mr. Jiang was also normal.
It's impossible not to worry about my son.
I got it, that's why he advised you. Coco went to join the army, obeying her father, and he joined the army when he was 18. By the age of 20, Jiang Coco had already been a truly amazing soldier, all of them, teammates and commanders.
He said all very good things. He's so honest about Coco.
The feeling that Ho had just enlisted when he spoke. He spoke with his commander and was asked the reason why Coco was admitted.
What does 5 mean?
He answered that he wanted to train himself.
It's good to be able to get revenge.
He then told his mother the entire story of my life.
His commander was very agreeable.
I felt for Coco, and for 2 years while serving, the commander tried.
I will do my best to be by Coco's side.
And asked the teacher if he was trying to change
his
thoughts until one. At the moment, the commander asked Coco that,
what do you want to do after you leave the military?
Coco probably did think about it. He went back to his future. I think the commander was probably right. Perhaps the best revenge plan. It's about him becoming successful. Thinking about going back home. I live and work in Quang Pin village. And a second-floor parking space for the house. My dad and I think he might
get a good job and become. So what if I become successful, but then I'll turn around? No one wants to return to reality. Hire someone who has just graduated from college.
2.
Where are you? And that's exactly the time. Time waits for no one. Jiang Coco now. They're already middle-aged.
Everyone around him the same age had already have a stable career and family.
And you have nothing in your hands.
Coco tried to find information about Kwang's brothers, all three of them.
They have all moved out of the village and they all have stable jobs now, son.
Mr. and Mrs. Kwang. Then he returned to his former life in prosperity.
The eldest son is familiar with the duties. He is the most successful person in the government.
Even the youngest sibling after being born,
Prisoners can still get a decent job. He's just like his older brother.
Meanwhile, Coco, an innocent person.
I am trying my best in life.
Then they couldn't find a job. A kind deed.
It's all because your mother was killed.
If your mother were still alive, then everything would be fine.
Things are different now. He won't drop out of school and he will have to get a decent job, and then there will be a girlfriend, then a
family of my own. For a period of time, Coco even came over. Argentina is trying to renew its life. Me. But back with even more disappointed and angry than before.
Again. In December 2017, after many years,
Zen had not seen his son. Finally received news that Coco.
I will go home to visit my family during Tet this year.
Lunar New Year is a time for family reunion, a period of time that members of
family, no matter how far apart they are, they will also return to reunite
together. It has been 22 years since my mother died. But Coco still remembers everything perfectly. As the band entered the village, I saw the children playing about fireworks and then come closer to remind them,
be careful not to hurt them.
Myself, the children recognized him too. Coco from way back. He smiled and continued walking. I went home and found my father waiting at the door.
Mr. Zen felt very happy because
seeing that her son was still healthy and more mature. That evening, Coco gave it to her father.
I gave him an envelope of money and said that this will be Dad's retirement money.
It can also help Dad in.
The house needs upgrading as well.
Mr. Zen didn't care at the time. It comes down to money. He simply wanted Coco.
Stay home this year and enjoy
New Year as a family. Coco cried when she heard her father say that.
That's because he knows that it will be impossible to fulfill that wish of my father at his wish.
Soon, your new home will be. It is a prison.
After being home for about 2 months,
living with my father and older sister. Finally, the new year has arrived and
Coco's moment of revenge after 22.
The year has finally arrived. That morning, Mr. Zen left
to the spider-like habitat of their ancestors
on the mountain, like every year, and Coco said that we would go there later to meet my dad. Because of the busy work in the fields that day.
Because it was Tet Vietnamese New Year, Mr. Zen was unable to receive it.
Coco's strangeness, he knew he wouldn't be able to. I went to see my father afterwards, while the masked man stood looking through the window.
The waiting list is for the Kwang brothers to return. Visiting family during the New Year, also. It is one of the rare occasions when flowers bloom.
The whole Kwang family was reunited. Coco found the job of driving a gas-powered car to be pretentious. The eldest son walked into the yard. He didn't see his second son. The man who killed his mother is nowhere to be found, but I could hear my brother's voice. Both the older and younger siblings are at home.
The two of them are talking about what they're going to do.
Spiders are used to light the ancestral pages of their spiders
without knowing that Coco's room will follow with a knife
in my hand.
Coco was hiding in a bush.
There were about 12 trees at the foot of the mountain.
Lunchtime.
When I looked around, I saw nothing.
People at the right time, the two brothers.
Kwang finished his work and went downstairs.
Coco was wearing a mask and a hat at that time. With his face covered by a hat, he rushed out and slashed on the neck of the youngest brother right before,
when he had time to shout. Coco started stabbing people repeatedly, him until that body. He collapsed to the ground. The eldest brother stood frozen in shock. I was startled, not knowing what had just happened. He stared intently at her face.
Coco and somehow received. That's him, Jiang Coco.
he whispered before leaving. We ran away with nothing but our belongings.
Coco quickly chased after him and wrestled him to the ground.
The eldest brother fell to the ground, then stabbed repeatedly. He then stabbed him repeatedly in the body. Knife. The two brothers I knew are now dead.
And was left lying there
on the mountain, with clothes stained with blood. Coco returned and knocked on the door. Quen.
He's usually very busy right now.
To prepare for dinner then. Suspected of being stabbed in the stomach, even after it's released. Coco continued her violent behavior. Their strength. Mrs. Kwong was in the kitchen at that moment, with thick ears and eyesight. Poor thing, she didn't even know he was her husband. I'm dead, I was running and screaming.
Let's see what's going on.
Coco went outside and came to the front. Which startled the woman. They frantically asked if Coco had done it. What about my husband?
He said that it was because of Mrs. Kwong.
Since she's a woman, he won't kill her. Then Coco went out into the yard and stood there, right where his mother had murdered 22 years ago, using a spark to set the car on fire. Kwong's eldest son. He just killed 3 people, and he was standing there, staring at the burnt-out car.
Based on the accounts of the local people, Jiang Coco witnessed it that day.
He kept muttering to himself. I did it, Mom. I have avenged my mother. But sadly, I couldn't
kill the last one.
The villagers found the body. The physiques of the two Kwong brothers are quite good.
It was fast, also because Coco didn't conceal them and leave them right there.
The place where they died. At this point, Coco was already in a daze. Lost from the village.
Mr. Jiang had only just heard the news
that
Coco is in trouble and running away.
Go home. I can't believe it, my son. He just killed 3 people.
For the next 2 days, nobody had
Coco can be found. But then, he came there on his own. Police and then confessed. Because Coco didn't start out either, he had no intention of running away. He said that night would. It's New Year's Eve, there will be many parties.
Flowers are sold up in the sky.
And he just wanted to watch the performance.
This is the last time I'll see these flowers, the police asked. So what happened to Coco afterwards?
What did they do?
He said that, after seeing the fortune teller, after finishing the flowers, he went for a walk
beside the river, throw away the heavy knife. There was blood there, and he was sleeping soundly, peaceful on the grass. The next day, he went home.
Hoping to see her father one last time.
But when I saw there were so many people around his house, he ran.
Go and visit your mother's grave.
That night, he slept in an ATM and then.
Where should I go to turn myself in, according to the police?
The police then asked him what he had done. What do you do when you visit your mother's grave? Coco replied that he had appreciated her. He visited his mother's grave and told her that.
I've done it, I've paid.
Avenge my mother. He said that, at that moment. All the anger and resentment. Anger over the past 22 years about things that they slowly poisoned him to death. It suddenly disappeared from the inside. He also added that it's possible. Over the past 22 years, if a family member came over
and apologized sincerely and
honestly, that anger might hurt. It will also diminish, and then perhaps
he will have a peaceful life.
He was just like everyone else, with a wife and children.
And perhaps the tragic massacre.
This will not happen.
Jiang Coco answered all the questions from the police, in truth,
without knowing that those things will be used against him in court session. Coco's older sister collapsed from dehydration upon hearing the news that his younger brother had been arrested. And the second son is from an acquaintance's family.
Then stated that Coco did not kill the family. He killed his brother to get revenge, but it was
because of jealousy. One should not forget to use rhetoric.
Give it to your best friend and blame it on your younger sibling.
My son.
In an interview about Mr. Jiang, when the interviewer asked Miss Jiang, Mr. Jiang said he didn't know how he died.
It answered perfectly.
It happened yesterday because of someone.
The second son beat her by a tree with a sun-drenched canopy, and then she fell down right there. This was around January 8th. Coco's whirlwind trial in 2019 was he did it because he received it. Murder charge when asked why. Coco is already 35 years old. I still refuse to get married, Coco replied. That's because even after Jiang died, he still often had
a dream
these
about
things.
that horrific event.
He knows he's not okay and will.
It's impossible to make other people happy.
Where was she when she was told that Coco had killed people because of jealousy towards acquaintances?
Because if you have already heard your son's words,
The second son was the one who killed him.
why would my mother kill those people?
The other one is still alive, they say, Coco.
I'm just jealous because my acquaintances have those
What
things.
he lacks is Coco, money,
Luxury cars, and beautiful houses. Extremely angry about this, and
he made it clear at the trial, he knew that loyalty, his reality with the police officers, corruption has returned to cause harm. My cousin distorted my testimony. He became a different story altogether.
he went crazy on the 11th.
April 2019, second trial. Jiang Coco's trial was conducted.
This is quite interesting, lawyer.
Coco's works brought forth classics,
A typical example is the Count of Monte Cristo.
or Hamlet into the counter-arguments of
The Count of Monte Cristo is the sentence.
the story is about a man who,
To be imprisoned for a crime that is not. It must have been caused by him while he was
being detained, he went up.
a plan to get revenge on those colleagues.
Evil forced him in.
He feels like he is here.
They changed their practice when even the Dharma was
The
revealed.
law also cannot punish those. The bad guy is quite a story.
The responses were complex and lengthy.
This lawyer's argument is that those classic works all have content.
The story revolves around revenge, and that it is also human instinct. This is the desire to repay the kindness shown to me.
This lawyer also said that these are not endorsements for.
Coco is just a thought. Judges should consider this carefully before making a decision.
deliver a
verdict, but with all. Despite her efforts, Jiang Coco still
Must receive the death penalty in the second trial.
These two were broadcast live.
With approximately 2.5 million views when
Jiang Coco was sentenced to death. People all over China were very angry. They said that this punishment was
it's too high when there are so many killers. Other inhumane people out there kill.
the person who did it for fun still got sentenced. This man received a much lighter punishment than others. He witnessed his mother being murdered at age 13 and was an inner demon.
A ghost-free photo that you can never forget.
In the eyes of many, he is a person completely innocent, trying to pay revenge for his mother in a world. Sometimes it's unfair to us. Have to use unfair methods too.
Is justice served without evil in the army? The word 5 means not having good thoughts about.
Jiang Coco did it all for his country. He will take up arms for his mother. He has stabbed many people. I supported him and thought that Coco's punishment should simply be sitting.
It's just prison, but there are many people there too. They thought he had killed someone, so now he will have to pay the price.
His life, yet he had the counter-arguments that with those,
What they're talking about is the new government. They are the only ones who got to do it.
what about this measure when it's clear that the mother, Coco's father, was killed, and when he killed his mother's murderers? As for me, he was punished with their lives, the government. The killing included ordinary citizens.
Usually it's fine, of course It must be understood that anger comes
From Coco's protectors, it is because
they have been following the story
from the beginning and be aware of the shortcomings, fairness in society, shortcomings of the system and the contents of the family. Jiang Family Temple on July 17th. In 2019, Jiang Coco was executed. His last words were, "Dad, it's okay, but after Coco is dead, he's been taken away." He was cremated and Mr. Jiang passed away.
I'm getting the code back for my son.
He thought that the whole thing.
This is unfair, and That's unacceptable, people.
The government has made many phone calls times to convince Mr. Jiang.
I came to get Coco's code, but
he still refused them and even threatened them. They threatened that if he didn't come to pick it up then
they will blame Coco's code for the problem.
The river of Eng Jiang replied, "Let's
do it, then pour it on my son. Let it go down to the river and let it drift away, sightseeing throughout this time until the end."
Coco and her friends arrived.
Get the code for him and bring it over.
They gave it to Mr. Jiang, and then
let's go bury him in the mountains together.
No ceremony or funeral.
Mr. Jiang said that he had not.
They held a funeral because he didn't. He never wanted his son to die until Coco's father still visits regularly. Visit his grave and just mentioning this makes him.
I'll be unbearably sad, sister.
Coco's daughter was just as heartbroken when bringing his younger brother to the marriage. That kind of thing, she said, that both the family they knew should have been punished. The punishment was given 22 years ago, madam. Jiang wasn't the one who started it, that fight, and when she died,
then the Jiang family only received back exactly $1,500 and for 22 years.
That's why the familiar family didn't come and ask. Once a mistake is made, revenge is not.
It's good, but if it's a familiar house, it seems
if there were
like
more
a scam.
Mistakes, perhaps life would be ruined. Coco has changed, maybe he will behave differently and have a relationship.
They're just like the other 3 normal people. Let's subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out. Miss out on these exciting videos.
这个张思和的是张口张我的，准备娶媳妇。为什么从一看，为什么人家上面都装修这么好着呢？这准备娶媳妇的。